We are moving today to lesson 2.3. Your learning target, you can solve multi-step equations. Multi-step means that you do more than one thing, more than two things even. Vocab you need to know associated with this lesson are like terms. Like terms, to define them, have the same variable connected to it. So like terms have the same variable sticking to it. In you need to know the word simplifying. We use that all the time in math. Simplifying it means combine all the like terms. So combine all the like terms. Solving. Solving is another huge vocab word. It means give variable alone. When you solve for a variable, you know what it is. It's all by itself. It looks something like this. X is equal to something. Coefficient. Coefficient is the number in front of a variable. It is the number in front of the variable. What I mean by that, if I had 3x plus 2, the number in front of the variable is this 3, so the 3 would be the coefficient. Combining like terms is the next concept. So I just gave you all the vocab you need. Again, we have like terms, simplifying, solving, coefficient. Like terms means that it has the same variable. Simplify, combine all the like terms. Solving, get variable by itself. And coefficient is the number, I have a typo, the number in front of the variable. So all this is aligned with solving multi-step equations because chances are you're going to have to start combining like terms. So you need to know how. If there is nothing in front of the variable, you put a 1. It is a 1. If there's nothing in front, it's 1. You have one of them. And then anytime you see subtraction or anytime you see a minus sign, change minus or subtraction to add the opposite. And a lot of times we think of that as adding the negative. Right, we're going to jump right into some examples. X plus 5. The x's I can combine. Again, that's like a 1x and a 1x. 1x plus 1x is 2x plus 5. I'm done because there's no more like terms. Next example, 12x plus 4 minus 3x. I'm going to change this minus 3 into plus a negative 3. So I have 12x plus a negative 3x. I have 9x's left over. Plus 4, done because I know I'm done because I can't combine the 9 and 4 because they don't both have an x. Next example. I see a couple minus signs in here, so I'm going to change them into plusing a negative right away. And then I just start from the right, or left I mean. Negative 2y plus 5y. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3y, so I'm done with those terms. And then I have a 1x plus a negative 5. 1 plus negative 5 is a negative 4, so I'm going to add a negative 4x. And then I have 10 plus a negative 7. 10 plus a negative 7 is 3. That's my final answer. I'm done because I can't combine any other terms. So we're going to start solving with these multi-steps. And when we solve with multi-step equations, we need to know how do we do it. Well, the first order of operation is to distribute if you have to. Always distribute first. And then you combine the like terms. And then finally, we are going to solve for the variable. So we distribute if we need to, we combine like terms, and we solve for the variable. Working through some of these examples. I don't need to distribute, but I can combine like terms. This is 1x. 1x plus 3x is 4x's. Minus 2 equals 6. I'm going to add 2 in order to solve. And I get 4x these cancel out, is equal to 8. That means 4 times x to undo, the inverse of times is divide, x is 2. Okay, this next one that I'm looking at is definitely longer. I'm going to go ahead and add a negative right away. I do that with this type because I want to remember that's a negative 9 that I'm combining with the other x term. So 12x plus a negative 9x, I'm at 3 x's. Then I have 3 plus 7 is 10 equals 13. Now I can solve. I'm going to move what's not connected to my variable. So I'm going to move my 10. The inverse of adding 10 would be to subtract 10. I get 3x is equal to 3. 3x means 3 times x, so the inverse of times is to divide. X is 1. Final answer. Distribution 1, looking down here on the left. I'm going to distribute my 2 first. According to my steps I wrote, distribution is the most important. So 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 3 is 6, equals 10. Move what's not connected. Move what is connected. That means 2 times x. The inverse of times is divide, and x is 2. Next one over, again, I see distribution because I see parentheses and a number sticking outside the parentheses. So that tells me distribute. So I'm going to just distribute to the inside. 3x plus 2 times x is 2x, minus, because it's a minus inside, 2 times 2 is 4 equals 6. Now I can combine like terms. 3x plus 2x is 5x's, minus 4 is equal to 6. Move what's not connected to the variable, so I'm going to move minus 4 by adding 4. And I get 5x is equal to 10. That's 5 times x. To move times, I divide, and I get x is 2. Final answer. Next one, we have 4x minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 21. So I want to change this minus in a plus and negative. What I'm really doing here is distributing a negative 3 to inside the parentheses. So I'm just going to write it down. 4x plus negative 3 times x would be a negative 3x, minus negative 3 times 2 would be a negative 6, equals 21. Well, 4x plus a negative 3x is just x. And if you minus a negative here, it's really plus plus. We're adding 6 equals 21. The inverse of add would be to subtract. Algebra is all about balance, so if I subtract from that side, I need to subtract from the opposite side. Cancels out, x is equal to 15. Looking at the next slide, we get fraction examples. Fraction examples, we want to get a common denominator if we need it. So we want to get a common denominator if we need it. I'm just going to write common denom. So this first one says 2b over 5 plus 3b over 4 equals 3. I have a denominator of 5 and 4, so they're not the same. So I'm going to have to get a common denominator. I'm going to make it 20. 5 times 4 is 20, so 2 times 4 is 8. And I just stick the b out there. 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 5 is 15. Again, I'm sticking the b out there. Now the reason I wanted to do that is because I see that they both had b in the equation. That b tells me that I can combine those like terms, but I can't combine them until I have the same denominator. So now I'm left with 8b plus 15b over 20 is equal to 3. 8b plus 15b would be 23b. So 8 plus 15 is 23. I'm just making it smaller so we can see. So I have 23b over 20 equals 3. Now I want to get rid of that coefficient. And when you think about getting rid of it, you just think you want to cross out the numbers. If you want to cross out the numbers, that's when you do that reciprocal. If I'm doing the reciprocal, I create a 1 on the opposite side and do the same thing, because algebra is about balance. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Everything on the coefficient cancels out. I'm only left with b. I can't cross simplify, so it's just going to be top times top, 3 times 20, which is 60, over bottom times bottom. 1 times 23 is 23. I can't simplify, so I'm done. And I'm not going to worry about the word problems with my lesson, online lesson today. I'm just going to finish up with the fraction examples. I'm actually going to rewrite this because it looks really blurry to me. Okay, so I see that I want to be able to combine my 3x and I want to be able to take an x away. Before I can do that, I need a common denominator. So I'm going to make a common denominator of 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. Put the x out there. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times x would just be 4x. So I see that I'm dealing with subtraction. Now I can congest it all. 9x minus 4x over 12 equals 10. I can put the 9x minus 4x on top because they have the same denominator. Once you have the same denominator, you can put the numbers on top all on one. 9x minus 4x, I get 5x over 12 equals 10. So I want to get rid of a fraction. Remember, when you want to get rid of a fraction, you want to be able to cross out the diagonals. So I'm just going to times through by the reciprocal. I see 10 isn't a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1 and times through by the reciprocal there. I see I can cross simplify. 5 divided by 5 is 1, 10 divided by 5 is 2. Now I can go top times top over bottom times bottom, which is 24 over 1, which is 24. And that's enough examples for me to go over for this lesson.